Hello, Joe, one and all, and welcome to the Talking the Orville live watch party. Season 4 of the Orville, we now know, is starting production in just a few months, and we got to get ready for it. Yes, Mark Lawrence, hail Avis. Mark says, yes, hail Avis indeed. I have Avis right over there watching over us as we watch the watch party. This episode of the Orville, this was for the longest time my favorite episode of the Orville until many episodes later they came out with Mad Idolatry, and that for the longest time became my favorite episode of the Orville. And now I know, after years of talking the Orville, I now know that the newest episode of the Orville is always my most favorite episode of the Orville. It'll be a while before we get a new episode. But we are getting new episodes of the Orville, and I, for one, am very excited. I'm also very excited for the channel now being fully monetized by YouTube. Now my brain is cooking with all the content that I want to make, and I'm finally going to do. I wrote down a whole list today of all my plans for Talking the Orville, and I kind of want Talking the Orville to become, and I've wanted this for a long time, but I've always was like, should I do it? Should I not? Because it's a lot of work. I don't mind the work. I want this channel to become the guide of all guides to the Orville universe. So I've been thinking about it for a long time, and now it's the time to do it. And I'll just give you some of my things that I was writing today. I got a whole page of stuff. Of course, we're going to be doing live shows. That's a given, especially if you're a member, an official channel member of this channel, like Archmage Frey is an official channel member. Mark Lawrence is an official channel member. We have a whole group of channel members now that we can do memberships again. And of course, that gives you cool things like emojis, badges. I'm going to be doing a lot more members-only content, at least as a pre-release. Like, members will get a video first for a couple days when I come out with fancy videos, and then it will eventually be released to everyone else. But some of the episode ideas, I want to do regular short episodes about topics from the Orville. I want to do an Adrian Palicki, is she returning video. I want to do a video about Ed's daughter, Anaya. I want to do a video about whether or not Clyden might be a spy. I want to do a video about Priya returning and maybe saving Charlie. The Blu-rays, DVDs of the Orville. They haven't done that yet. That needs to be talked about in a video. When season 4 comes our way, the Dr. Finn's kids, Claire's kids, are going to be a lot older. How are they going to explain that? The Krill-Mocklin alliance. What's up with that? The Guide to the Orville, just so you know, the book written by Andre Bormanis, supposed to come out September 24th, has just been pushed to release 1 week later, October 1st, because there was an issue with shipping. So they're just to make sure everybody gets their book when they're supposed to get their book. It's now being released on October 1st. If you don't haven't pre-ordered it yet, you do get a discount when you pre-order the Guide to the Orville. Link is in the description of this video. Check it out. I was just reading it today. One thing I noticed today while I was going through the personal logs, which is the biggest section of the book, is personal logs about every single mission from different members of the crew. Not just the bridge crew. There are members of the crew that you know of that also have some personal logs in this book. There's a short personal log from a person you would never expect. So I'm very excited for you guys to check that out. And I want to do an episode. I might want to do this week, an episode about how money works in the Orville universe. It doesn't work at all, but there is wealth in the Orville universe. I want to do, and you guys tell me what you think about this. I want to do new reviews of every single episode of the Orville. That's 36 reviews. They'll be different. They're going to be more documentary style, packed with information, like the type of information that I'm going to be talking about here during this watch party for the episode If the Stars Should Appear. I got a lot of information about this episode. I'll be talking about it while we're watching the episode. It's jam-packed. I don't even know if I could get to all of it. I'll have to pick and choose which things I talk about and in what order. And let's see. And of course, I have some live show discussions that I want to do. Of course, we're going to be doing the Orville RPG, the Union. We're going to get back to doing We Are the Orville with you, the fans. Join me live, and we'll talk about a certain Orville type thing. I'm also want to do an announcement video with Alec Peters joining me. We're going to be doing a live, might not be live, but a live-ish discussion about the Orville fan film that we're working on. Give you guys the details of what we're working on. Of course, we're always going to do interviews with the cast and the production from the Orville as time goes by. It's a whole to-do of things, you guys. It's a whole to-do. Pop-up video reviews, Archmage Frey said. You know, it's been a while. I don't know if people do pop-up reviews anymore. It might be time for them to come back. Mark Lawrence says, alternate future Priya being a temporal agent instead of a temporal pirate would be a great switch. Yeah, when we see Priya again, and next week we're going to be watching the episode Priya, so I'll have a lot of information to talk about next week about Priya. Yeah, she's not going to be the same Priya that we met before. Her timeline has changed. So things are going to be different if we see her again. Oh, but you guys, I have so many plans. But all my edited videos, I want to start doing documentary style evergreen videos. I mean, some of them won't be evergreen. They'll be news that just came out, so they're only valid for the couple days that I put the video out. But I also want to do evergreen videos, like reviewing every single episode and just jam packing it with episodes and hot topics and things like that. I'm excited. I just got to find the time to do this stuff. And I got to figure out which video is going to be the first video that I start, because also I have a new template for making videos, and I got to get that laid out. And I want all the videos to look like they belong together. But let's get this watch party going. What say you? And for those that are watching for the very first time, one of these watch parties, I don't have the episode fully playing on the screen because that's illegal, my friends. But I will have it up on the screen, partially covered up, but you will be able to see the subtitles of the episode. So you know exactly where we are. You follow along, and I'll be giving information about this episode while we watch it, and also just going to enjoy the episode. It's a great damn episode of the Orville. Archmage Frey, for those about to watch, we salute you. So let's go ahead and get it going, shall we? Oh, Pranakasha Productions, welcome to the Union. Pranakasha Productions. You know how not only have a new badge that people can see in the chat, and that badge will change, will be upgraded every single month. Matt, thank you so much. But also you got use of the emojis, which also will be, right now we have a certain amount of emojis, and as we get more members of the Union, it unlocks more emojis and more features. So says YouTube. But I know it does because I've done this before. It's been a while, but I've done this before. So yeah, we'll watch along. I'll do a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and on 1, we'll all press play together. And a little message from Pranakasha Productions. Check out Pranakasha Productions on YouTube, you guys. Hola y namaskar, Seth Trekkies. Seth Trekkies. All right. So this is the episode If the Stars Should Appear of the Orville Season 1. I'll do the countdown. Remember, on 1, we're going to press play. So on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Playing, you guys. It's playing. You can see it on the screen here. Let's see over Pranakash Production, Super Duper Chat. We're back with the Super Chats. Thank you so much, Matt. Very much appreciated. We have Bortus and Clyden. I do not like. Let me get a little bit more screen going on here. That should still work. That should still work. All right. We're still good. We're still good. I'm cropping the picture. I just want to make sure all of the subtitles are on here. So we're seeing that Clyden and Bortus are having problems after what happened in the previous episode about a girl, all about Topa. They're not talking about it, but there's been some issues going on apparently. It's leaking into the happiness of their home. It was established later on in the episode Lasting Impressions that the morning shift on the bridge begins at 8 a.m. Bortus just said it's an hour early, so it's now 7 a.m. This is going on 7 in the morning, you guys. Fighting that early in the day. What's up with that? The voice of the computer is Rachel MacFarlane, Seth MacFarlane's sister. Oh, I know what he's going to pick. Rocky Road. I love Rocky Road. Rocky Road was my dad's absolute favorite flavor of ice cream. What's going to make you happy, Glenn? This is The Sound of Music, I believe. I do know that The Sound of Music is Seth MacFarlane's favorite movie. We know the guy loves musicals. This is not only his favorite musical, this is his favorite movie. Bachelor dandies, drinkers of brandies. What do I know of those? Alyssa Cordery says, I think this moment was the first time I laughed out loud watching the show. I've been watching the movie or the star mapping. The star mapping is really funny. They're trying to outdo each other with boredom and uncomfortableness. Okay, so if the star should appear, this is the 4th episode of the first season of the Orville. The original air date was September 28th, 2017 in the United States. It was written by Seth MacFarlane himself, and it was directed by James L. Conway, who actually has directed, I think, on 4 different Star Trek shows. One of the big things about the Orvilles, Seth wanted to make sure he brought in a lot of people from Star Trek to help make this show. Seth, of course, being in 2 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise, playing Ensign Rivers. And the star date, or it's the date, not really the star date, but the date, this is the Orville, is November 2419. Wow. So in this episode, the USS Orville finds an alien ship adrift in space and on course to collide with a nearby star. They're about to find it right now. Only to discover inside a species that is completely unaware of their plight. That always blew me away. This is a generation ship, and it's been adrift for 2,000 years to the point where the people that live aboard the ship do not even know they're on a ship. They just think it's the world. They think it's the universe. They have no idea they're in trouble. Look at that thing. The size of it is beautiful. What's up, lone puppy? How you doing? Pranagash says, a deer, a female deer, Ray, a drop of golden sun. Ray, are you talking about Star Wars? No, I get it. I see what you're picking up, what you're putting down. So, like I said, this episode was written by Seth MacFarlane, directed by James L. Conway, and features the music of Joel McNeely, of course, a huge composer for the Orville. And we have a special cameo at the very end of this episode. I'm sure everybody knows who it is. But we'll talk about that as we get a little bit Hello, sir. All right, I'm glad you're good, lone puppy. Oh, JP's JPing around, doing ride share every day, trying to hopefully keep these lights on and get my car paid, my car payment done by this Saturday. Conway Twitty, gentlemen, Conway Twitty. If the Star Should Appear performed above average for its time slot and was well received by audience and critics alike, reviewed as one of the more enduring original stories in television science fiction, and frequently compared to Star Trek The Next Generation. Following the conclusion of the first season, the episode was widely cited as evidence that the show improved with each episode. They're unable to penetrate it, you guys. Let me skip past the plot. We got that just by watching the episode. Gordon with the jokes, you guys. So the ship's about 2,000 years old, which means it was first. It first started its journey in like the year 419 AD, our time. Our time down here. Then season 3 came along with 10 movies. Alert, alert, Space Command. You guys watch Space Command? Uh, a fun production there. Is shooting in LA next week and needs a bunch of extras on Monday and Tuesday. All right, you guys need to chat with Pranakasha Productions if you want to maybe see if he can get you into being an extra. So I know Matt has some connections over there with Mark Zekri, who's the writer, producer, director, and everything with Space Command. So Seth wrote this episode either March or April of 2016, shortly after Fox bought the Orville for a 13-episode season run. Originally, If the Star Should Appear was to be the second episode of season 1, but was moved to fourth when it performed poorly with test audiences. Yeah, this is kind of a deep sci-fi episode. It wasn't for to be placed as second. Probably wouldn't have let people, have an exciting time to get them to want to watch more Orville. You got to get them hooked first. So they moved the episode Command Performance to the second episode slot, and this one over to fourth, where it became my favorite episode. 790 square kilometers. Okay, Claire just said that's about the size of New York City. The ship, that's freaking huge, right? That's the same size that New York City is now. So in the future, 400 years in the future, uh, New York is the same size that it is now. Filming was completed for this episode during the week of April 7th, 2017, under the direction of James L. Conway. Although parts, such as a close up of Claire healing Alar's wound, Alar gets shot, spoiler alert, in this episode, was filmed as late as April 26th. Conway had directed episodes of 4 separate Star Trek series, keeping with the tradition to use past Trek employees to direct episodes of the Orville. Filming took roughly 8 days for this episode. Editing concluded on July 3rd. So this episode was ready. It was ready way before. It wasn't a last minute thing. They had this thing ready to come out the end of September 2017. Archmaze, as far as being an extra on Space Command, says I'm on the wrong side of the country. Mark Lawrence, dude, I will so make the time to go if needed for Mr. Zekri. Yeah, Mark's a great guy. Both Mark Lawrence and Zekri. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. When they open that up in this huge mountain range or hills rather, in a big field, it's gigantic. It's all inside of a ship. Biggest bioship there's ever seen. Biggest bioship I've ever seen. I don't know if you guys have seen bigger bioships, but this is a big one. The interior ecosystem of the bioship was filmed. This was all filmed at Walt Disney Studios' Golden Oak Ranch near Newhall, California. I don't know where Newhall is, but they got Disney money over there. It's the same location as the habitable planet in Nothing Left on Earth Excepting Fishes. Now that's season 2, so we'll get to that later because we're doing season 1 right now. Every episode of season 1. These watch parties will conclude on October 17th. Then I'll take a break, regroup, and then create a schedule for season 2, and then down the road, season 3, and then eventually season 4, because we're getting to season 4. So the episode took 8 days to film, right? But the score by Joel McNeely actually took 3 weeks to complete. The music takes a long time. Joel remembers there were a lot of fun sequences to score in this episode, and the ending where they opened up the dome was really fun. But due to the last minute change in episode ordering, this episode was McNeely's first for the Orville. It was pretty difficult for me finding out what the rules are and what the musical world is for the Orville. He later commented, and I'm still finding that. Well, he's doing a pretty good job so far. According to the Orville original television soundtrack, which is available, you can listen to it right now on Spotify and probably other places too for free. The songs composed by Joel McNeely on this episode are The Bioship, Exploring the Hole, Exploring the Bioship, which they're doing right now. Well, probably the inner workings. Finding Alara, Space Battle, and Dural, The Roof Opens. The music for this episode were meant as homages to the scores of earlier science fiction movies. Um, One right on the nose, I'll tell you about here in a little bit. McNeely composed intimate music for Finding Alara to encourage the listener to sympathize with Alara as she had just been shot. Well, she hasn't been shot yet, but she will be shot eventually. Holy crap. Took that dude out. And this episode made me realize, oh man, there's going to be some serious danger going on in these episodes. Let's see. This is their first real away mission in the series, I believe. Really, really an away mission. Well, I guess they went to Epsilon 2 in the first episode. That's just kind of work, something for work. This is hey, they came across something, let's go check it out type of situation. And I love discovering the mystery here. I mean, they're showing up thinking these people are in danger because they are, and they assume that these people know they're in danger because they're in a big, super fancy technological wonderland of a ship. She has no idea what they're talking about. The Road Not Taken has music that reminded me of The Wrath of Khan. Well, when we get to that episode, maybe there was some influence because there was some Star Trek influences to the music in this episode, as well as the story. We'll get into that as well. So, as far as fan reception, it says if the stars should appear was well received by TV audiences and enjoys an 8.5 rating on IMDb. Ooh. Tied with the episode Majority Rule, which we'll be watching a couple weeks from now, for the second highest rating of the first season. It was watched by 3.7 million viewers in the United States. I do wonder if that's just live because this is back when the show was on primetime television, or if they're considering the Hulu numbers as well. Because usually the show would get whatever it got live, and then it would get the same amount again the next day on Hulu, or next couple days probably. And the critical response, along with episode 3 About a Girl, which we watched last week, If the Star Should Appear is generally considered the breakout episode of the show, rated by critics much more highly than the preceding episodes and among the highest rated episodes of season 1. In a review of the Orville's first season, a panel of critics agreed that while they were nonplussed by the first 2 episodes, by episode 3 and 4, they started to find their footing, and it's just gotten stronger and stronger with each episode. And how? And then we get to season 3, and it's a damn movie every week. I remember when I originally watched this episode, and Alara was talking about the captain and asking about the captain. I almost felt like she was interested in Ed romantically, but that doesn't pan out to be true. At least not in front of the camera. Yeah. Oh, she's gonna give the dirt on Ed, her captain. Kind of rude there, Kelly. So some trivia. In this episode, Claire reveals that she suffers from near debilitating acrophobia, which is a fear of heights, and grabs Isaac's hand for comfort. In the episode Into the Fold, which is a couple weeks from now, she is forced to overcome her fear when she has to escape from Drojan's compound. Later, Isaac holds her hand to comfort her. Again, kind of building towards their relationship. I really saw, well, I'm giving commentary on an episode we haven't gotten to yet, but I really thought there was some romantic leanings towards those two at the end of Into the Fold. Look at these jerks. Kind of a side jokes, which is very much a Seth MacFarlane style. Yeah, take that. So shout aloud, which she took those bullets like a champ only because of her slaying physiology. If she was just a regular member of the crew, except for maybe Isaac, she would not have survived being shot like that. Do you guys recognize Tomlin here? The actor Max Burkholder, who is the star of Seth MacFarlane's TED series. He plays, what is it, John Bennett, the young Marky Mark character in the TED series. TED series, all done. I believe they're all done. Film? No, they're in the middle of filming season 2 right now. It won't take long, and so we got a little crossover here. We got a little TED crossover. We have another TED crossover later on, a couple episodes from now, in the episode Majority Rule. A lot of fans of the Orville are hoping to see Tomlin return. We didn't get an update from the Bioship people. The Bioship people's universe was turned upside down in this episode. And even though we got a lot of follow-ups later on in the series of all kinds of different things that's happened in the Orville universe, we never got a follow-up to this story. What are these people doing now that they know what's up? Now they got a cool ship. Really cool ship. Biggest ship there is. Yeah, he does. Max does a great job in the TED series, Lone Puppy. Lots of stuff going on in that series that just makes me crack up. I'm actually thinking of watching it again at some point when I have the time. Is that Nurse Park or is that another guy? I can't tell. My screen's really small where I'm watching. I'm watching this. I have so many windows up on the screen right now. The Nurse Park's in medical. I can't tell if it's him though. I loved throughout the first couple episodes of the Orville. I was so happy that serious predicaments came up in the episodes. I'm like, oh, letting me know, oh, this isn't just some jokey spoof show. It's a real deal. I mean, it's a real sci-fi show, a real homage to Star Trek. I've always thought of the Orville as Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. I mean, you got new Star Trek, which is the new Star Trek. There's some great new Star Trek. There's some not so great new Star Trek. But I don't consider most of it to be Gene Roddenberry Star Trek. I consider the Orville to be a Gene Roddenberry uh, with Seth MacFarlane joint. Yeah, Lone Puppy says the problem I had with this episode was the perpetual daylight. Yeah, that would just suck, right? These people have never seen the stars. Um, Original science fiction stories that this is kind of based on, or not really based on, but inspired by, you would have places that had artificial sun, artificial night. This place only has artificial sun. But they kinda had to I mean, to go with the if the stars should appear, it kinda lends it to these people never seeing night so that way we can watch them see the nighttime sky for the very first time. And then we can go, "Oh, Maria. Howdy. Maria's here, you guys. Everybody say hi." Lone Puppy says, "Yes, the Orville does have the spirit of Gene." I agree. In the spirit of so many other things, Rod Serling, comedy, classic comedy, contemporary comedy. I love this. Ed spits it out because it's probably to his human taste buds absolutely disgusting. They never dealt with that in previous science fiction shows. Food is just food. If the aliens liked it and they were kind of humanoid, everyone would like it. But they're like, no, it'd be something totally different. It makes sense that it would be disgusting. I think the krill are the only alien race to make some a yummy beverage. Slanes make yummy chocolates, that we know. And here we are, the jerk of the episode. An amazing thing about this episode has actually been the focus of an academic study. If the Stars Should Appear and Climate Change Denial, a chapter by David Kyle Johnson in Exploring the Orville. The Orville should always be explored. Also, when Clyden was watching that musical, yeah, it was The Sound of Music, the song 16 going on 17. But when the scene fades, Chairman Carr sings, "Totally unprepared am I to face a world of men." What? This is a clever nod to Bortus and Clyden's relationship problems in the context of an all-male Moclan society. Yeah, and Seth, the Sound of Music says favorite movie. Damn, Hamelek. Or is it Hamelak? Hamelak. Yeah, kick that guy. Hamelak loves it. He's not trying to stop it. So we kind of understand who he is, or the way he runs things with an iron fist and no mercy. All male all the time, says Archmage Frey. Let's see. This happens later, but I'm going to talk about it right now. So at one point in this episode, Ed and the away team approach a guard in front of Hamilak's building to rescue Kelly. So it's going to be coming up after this. Um, and Ed distracts the guard by pretending to recognize him from school before knocking him unconscious. Spouting confusing statements to approach and distract a guard before attacking him was a common tactic of Captain James Kirk of Star Trek, the original series. I wonder if if I ever get the chance to ask him, I will. If he was watching, I mean, we already know Seth is a huge fan of Star Trek, huge uber fan of Star Trek. I wonder if he was watching a ton more Star Trek in order to prepare to write uh, the Orville. I'm trying to remember that actor. He was in Star Trek at some point, I believe. Can't remember who he played. Maybe he was a Klingon. Maybe he was a regular looking dude. I can't remember. You guys might know. Lone Puppy. I thought this episode was aiming at male patriarchy. I didn't see that in this episode. I mean, you definitely see male patriarchy in here. I don't think they were taking a dig at it or anything. There's just a typical world where the leader is a jerk is usually played by a male in almost all movies and TV shows ever. So they're removing the bullets. Okay, so you see Tomlin thinking that her med scanner to remove the bullets from Alara is some sort of magic. And then we revisit that idea in the episode Man Idolatry when Kelly starts a whole religion by using her med scanner to heal a wound on that little girl's forehead. So I don't know if I'll have time to get into all the examples here, but there are a lot. Maybe if I when I do the full review of this episode again, maybe I'll include it. But this episode has similarities with the original series episodes of Star Trek: the Corbinite Maneuver, the Return of the Archons, and For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. The latter, featuring an asteroid set to collide with a Federation planet, is found to harbor an alien civilization that has forgotten that it's ancient that has forgotten its ancient advanced past. The asteroid is, in fact, a generation ship. So, kind of a similar storyline. There's a lot more similarities with those three episodes. If I have time, I'll get into them. But otherwise, I'll save that for when I review this episode. Yeah, Lone Puppy Seth was on Enterprise. He played Ensign Rivers in. He first served aboard Enterprise in XL1, and then he transferred over to the Columbia in XO2. But he was an engineer. He's the best damn engineer they had. Yeah, Voyager, Lone Puppy says Voyager had that long tube generation ship made of multiple ships as modules. Maria says, missing some are things. I remember, and I had a wrench. I look like a Joe Schmo now. LOL, stuff's not showing up. Might have been that was the old channel. This is the new Talking the Orville channel, whole new URL. Let me find my mouse. Let's do There's a wrench. Archmage also needs a wrench. All channel members will receive a wrench. Yeah, this is a whole new to do, Maria. Pranakasha gets a wrench. Oh, and your name gets highlighted blue. That's awesome. You're a dweeb. Your words, not mine. And then Mark Lawrence has two YouTube accounts. One of his accounts, he's a member of this channel. So when I see that, when I see that channel, his other channel that's a member reply or comment, I'll give him a wrench mark as well. Oh my God, Nick. All right, knock him out, unconscious. We're standing in the perfect position to kick him right in the booms. This is back when they were still making the relationship jokes, the divorce jokes between her and Ed. I'm glad they kept going with the problems that Ed and her have, but they stopped with the jokes or the references, and it's just like, hey, they're two people who love each other. They can't be together romantically for reasons that Kelly made up in her head that I don't think really would apply. But they're good friends. They don't have that. They're not arguing all the time about it. Thanks, Derulio. So the title, if the stars should appear, is a reference to the essay "Nature" by Ralph Waldo Emerson, which in 1836 introduced his philosophy of transcendentalism. Damn, Chilean style. The fact that they actually were torturing somebody in this episode impressed the hell out of me when I first saw this episode. I was like, "Damn, the show's willing to go there." I never expected it. I was still expecting the show to be a comedy, not a dramedy. It took a few episodes to really figure it out, and for me to say, "Oh, hey, this is actually a real deal science fiction show." Lone Puppy says, "Yes, Ed and Kelly's relationship arc is well done over all three series." Claire's quote of Emerson is also found in Isaac Asimov's novelette Nightfall, about a world with multiple suns where darkness only comes every 1,000 years. And Asimov's story may have contributed to the name of this episode. It probably did. For the longest time, I personally thought that Isaac got his name Isaac from Isaac Asimov. But then later on, season two, we find out it's what from Isaac Newton. Look at it. Just look at it. I don't understand your things. It's like showing a person from the 1800s a cell phone. They're not going to understand what they're seeing. The Union ship Druyan is named after writer producer Anne Druyan, who worked with MacFarlane to create the 2014 version of Cosmos: A Space-Time Odyssey. That's a good show if you haven't seen it. Oh, take that! I'm a lack. You jerk. I guess it's already happened. Kelly references the show Friends when she says her crewmates are at a cafe called Central Perk in Soho, New York City. In the actual show Friends, Central Perk is located in Greenwich Village. According to Adrian Palicki, who plays Kelly, Seth MacFarlane wrote the line for her. He knows that I'm obsessed with Friends. I remember I was on the elliptical reading that script and I fell off the elliptical laughing at that line. Definitely, there are things like that in the show. So the premise of this episode is similar to that of the Robert A. Heinlein novel "Orphans of the Sky," except for how no one came to the ship from outside. That novel had a similar story, but nobody came to say, "Hey, what's going on?" I guess they had to figure it out themselves. Oh, cool, 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 cool. Oh, I love this show. I remember watching this for the first time and loving this show. It's just awkward in the elevator. This is before we've met Lieutenant Dan, who's also awkward in an elevator. Archmage says, so Isaac and Chief Newton both got their names from the same guy. From the same guy? Just imagining the gravity of that situation. Who plays Chief Newton? Larry something Newsom? I can't remember his name. That is space. What is space? They think their ship is the entire universe. Couple miles. Wow. So this episode takes place November 24, 19. And into the fold, Isaac states that it takes the Orville weeks to traverse 1,000 light years. This episode establishes that the bioship is 1,000 light years from Earth, so the trip likely consumed the entire month of November. That's a long trip. And look who we have here, Liam Neeson's, you guys. So nobody, this Liam Neeson being in the episode was kept a secret, even from the cast. Um, it wasn't until they were on the bridge of the ship and Liam Neeson shows up on the screen that while they were filming, everybody on the bridge, the entire cast just starts cheering, like because Liam Neeson just showed up. They're like, "Whoa, wow, yay!" And then they got their composure together and filmed it correctly. But yeah, nobody knew about Liam Neeson. It was a surprise right here when they were filming it. Yeah, so 419 AD or CE, as some people say nowadays. Wow. It wasn't. They were supposed to go to relocate to wherever they were going. I wonder where they were going. I wonder where they were going, what's going on there, because that was 2,000 years ago. Wherever they were supposed to settle, did someone else settle there at this point? I don't remember where the bio after all is said and done, where the bioship people went. What were they doing after they find out everything? What's up, Margot B? Welcome. Let's see, there were some mistakes in this episode. Isaac asked the bridge crew earlier in the episode to explain the meaning of the word dick. However, Alara used that word in front of Isaac in the episode Command Performance. This continuity error arose because if the stars should appear was originally filmed as the second episode, not the fourth. episode of the season. So the episodes got switched. So there's a continuity error with the word dick. That's how I like to say that word. Just gives it the gravitas that it deserves. But it makes sense. It's an error there. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. They switched the episodes around. All you gotta do is watch this episode second instead of fourth, and it works out. I wonder what this episode would look like with a season 3 budget. I mean, it already looks amazing, but they were still able to make things look even more amazing in season 3. Dickie Gate, that's right. The Orville's back. It says, while inside the bioship, the ground team, away team. Well, that's a Star Trek term, though. Here we can say ground team, which works. It's a nice term. Wears spots around their faces so they can blend in. But when the team enters the bioship's bridge, their spots are gone. Little hiccup there. These things happen. There's a lot to keep track of on a big show like this. Ah, the Orville and all of its beauty. Let's quantum out of here, you guys. And the next episode is Priya, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Oh, you guys, we did it. Another watch party down. What do you guys think of that episode? Do you remember what you thought of that episode when you first saw it? Hopefully, maybe back in 2017. Some people are watching it for the very first time right now. So many people are just seeing the Orville for the very first time, and they're posting about it, saying, "Hey, why didn't I watch this show for? It's amazing." But better late than never is something that we as Orville fans have learned. We are getting, yes, applause, Margot B. Thank you, applause. Hooray! Hooray for you. Yeah, we have learned to wait. The Orville season 4 was a couple years before we heard anything about what might be going on, at least publicly. I've known for a long time that they planned on coming back, but we now know they're starting production on season 4 in about 4 months, January 2025. They're going to be, people are going to be showing up at the studio, wherever the studio might be, and they're going to start sweeping out, clearing out whatever's there right now, start building stuff, bringing some stuff back from storage, probably ordering a ton of lumber and paint so they can start making new stuff for whatever adventures Seth MacFarlane has in store for us. I'm super excited. There's so much more information about this episode that I have right here that I don't have time to talk about during this live stream. I have to wrap it up. I only got time for 1 hour, and we're at that point. But we're going to keep doing these watch parties every week until we run out of season 1 episodes. So October 17th, we'll still be doing these every Thursday is the day. I had to do it Wednesday today because I have plans for tomorrow. But I told everybody, don't make me no plans for any Thursdays until after October 17th because I'm doing Orville watch parties because Thursdays are Orville days. MJG, what's going on? Been watching the Orville and DNC convention. Interesting balance. I'll just go over to the Orville. No matter what's going on in your life, what's going on in the world, the Orville makes everything better and makes everything feel more balanced. I was just thinking today, because I want to do a video about the wealth, how money works in the Orville universe, being that they don't have money. It's a utopian society, everyone's provided for, but the wealth still exists in the form of reputation. Well, what you do with your life is your wealth. And I was thinking, man, I wish we lived in a world like that because it's hard to pay the bills, damn it. So I keep trying to pay the bills, but you watch an episode of the Orville, makes you forget about that for a little bit. For season 1, 42, 48 minutes. Season 2, about 48 minutes. And then season 3, an hour and beyond. Every episode's at least an hour, but some episodes get to almost an hour and a half in season 3. But we're not there yet. I have so many plans for the new Talking the Orville. I truly want to be a true guide to the Orville universe. Re-review, like I said, every single episode, documentary style. When I do edited videos, I want to start doing documentary style. Lots of cool video edited together with voiceover from me. I don't want to do a documentary style voiceover. I think I want to make sure it's just my regular voice. That way it just sounds like me. The last video that I did, I kind of did a softer tone, which I don't know if I dig that so much. I mean, it might sound cooler. We'll talk a little bit more like this. But hey, why don't I just go, hey, gang, it's me, JP. We're going to talk about the Orville. I have so much information about every single episode. So it might be good just to put out a review of every episode that goes together. So people that love the Orville and they want information on the Orville can go to those videos and get that information and learn everything about the Orville universe. And Lone Puppy says, you do a good Clyden voice. Yes, I could do a Clyden voice. But that would get annoying to listen to that for 4 minutes. I'm thinking episodes should be about 4 minutes. YouTube definitely wants you to do 8 to 10 minute videos. That's too much. That's too much work. I think 4 minutes is about the right amount for me and people who watch my stuff. And of course, we'll be doing all the live shows as usual, interviews as usual, discussions as usual. I got a lot of stuff planned, and actually I should probably go and rest my voice because I can feel it starting to get scratchy. See my wife for an hour or two before I go to bed and start the day all over again. Bortis. I think Clyden put my voice out. I was doing pretty well. Yes, Lone Puppy, more interviews coming. I'm just waiting for people to be ready. I mean, there's tons of smaller roles, people I can probably get a hold of and do some interviews with. But when it comes to the main cast, it's probably going to be more of the promotional period of time after they're done filming, and it's time to start banking some interviews so that they can all go together with season 4 coming out. And then when season 4 finally comes out, get that whole rigmarole going again. Season 3 was great with all the interviews that were coming my way every single week after every episode. I didn't have to do anything. They were contacting me saying, hey, do you want to interview? Who do you want to interview? And they tried to make it happen, and it happened every week. I loved it. But you guys, I want to thank you for joining me today for this watch party. We'll be here again next Thursday for the episode Priya with Charlize Theron guest starring in a very not only cool role, but a role I hope to see again, a character I hope to see again in season 4, because they kind of told us in the episode that we might see her again. So let's go ahead and see her again. But thanks again. It is time to end this stream. So let me make sure I got all the things, the buttons that I got to push ready. Where's my buttons? Here's a button. All right, I'll see you guys very soon. And remember, we all do better when we all do better together. Love you. Bye-bye.